healthy diet?
So straight away, and for me in my journey, it was that word diet, and for a lot of people, diet it's negative, isn't it? That's whenever we hear diet, it's like something hard. So it's changing it to lifestyle. Once we see it as a lifestyle, it's easily maintainable. Then we know where we're at, and then when we're thinking of lifestyle and the basics to a healthy diet lifestyle is nutrition, so getting your nutrition right, but on top of that is your health, so your training or your general moving around, and sleep as well, because we always forget about sleep, but sleep's massive. 1-2 hours lack of sleep a night can affect our basal metabolic rate, so it affects how many calories we're burning per day. So we put it all together, the diet, lifestyle, training, or just moving around and sleep. So this was big for me throughout my journey. Now, if you go into any sort of doctors now and they still got the same video playing from years ago, the general rule of thumb is around 2 litres, 8 glasses a day. But we have to remember that everyone's different, and that could come down to how much a person moves, how much they train, the climate, what's the climate like in here now, how much water am I expelling, personal needs, whether a person's not too well at the moment. But especially throughout my journey, I especially learned about the electrolytes, which is, so electrolytes, what is it? Sodium, magnesium, potassium. And the signs, throughout my training, I wasn't feeling right. I was drinking between 3 and 5 litres of water a day. But still, something wasn't right. And there's 3 main signs that you've not got electrolytes in your body. And I'm not just talking about somebody that trains. It can be anyone. One main sign is you're hungry. So hunger, the way our brain works, it can't differentiate between sugar and salt. So when we're hungry, when we need electrolytes, when we need water for electrolytes, the brain will crave these sweet foods, and it will make you think it wants sweet, when in fact it needs the electrolytes from the salt. It can't differentiate from them. The other one is fatigue. Now, what I mean, I don't mean overtraining or overworking. What I mean is just them mornings, where you wake up and you're lethargic and you've no energy. You've slept well, but you've just no energy. That's normally a sign that you need electrolytes in your nutrition. And the last one is the best one, and I found that was when you're just moody with people. When people are just getting on your nerves. They've no reason to get on your nerves, they're just getting on your nerves. It's normally a sign that you need some salt in you, some electrolytes. Oh, a good question. Again, I'll keep referring back to my own journey. Now, I've pretty much tried everything. But one massive thing, and like we refer back to the lifestyle, one massive thing was switching out processed foods really, for whole foods. And a lot of the clients that I work with now, when we think about processed foods and ultra-processed foods, they're high in calories and very easy to consume. Now, you could easily consume 5 to 10 packets of crisps. They're easy to consume. Whereas if you switch that out for whole foods, you wouldn't be able to eat the sort of same calories in that amount. And a lot of my clients now, they say, when I'm working with them, they say, "What? I can actually eat all this?" And I say, "Yeah, because we've switched it out for whole foods now." So when you do make that switch, you realise just how much, as well as the nutrients you're getting, just how much you can eat. The next thing would be for me, it's to have a balance of macros. Now, when I first started, when I heard the word macros, I'd start panicking. I'd think, macros, I've got to start weighing out. Where do I start with macros? If you're starting off, just look at your plate of food and just think, have I got protein? Have I got some fat on there? And have I got some carbohydrates? Yeah. And have some greens, some fibre on there. And just start off like that, make the small changes. Just switch the processed food for the whole foods. And don't overthink it. Now, I say this from my experience, and I've been asked a few questions today about fasting, Boovie, should I fast? Or Boovie, what do you think about paleo diet? Or Boovie, what do you think about carnivore? The sad thing about today now is there's too much influence on social media, and I fell for it a lot of times. Now I'm talking about, and don't get me wrong, the message what these are getting out is right. Like, let's say, for example, Eddie Abu, of course his message is right at the minute, you know, for these whole foods. It's perfect message, but we have to take into account people's needs and the training needs and the way they work and whether they need glycogen, you know, in the body, you know, on certain sort of aspects of the life. Or you look at other diets, lifestyles, but diets, keto diet, I've tried that. Yeah, fast results, but not maintainable. Then you go back to Netflix and Game Changers, which was a lot of propaganda about vegan, you know, vegan diet. It's whatever the craze is at that moment. If you are struggling and you want to get started on this nutrition, please don't fall for all this. Yeah, all right, there is some good messages, but just start off by switching out the processed foods for whole foods. I was laughing with one of my colleagues here, Scott Mitchell, the other day, and I've done a nutrition plan for somebody, and their nutrition at the moment is not great, processed foods. And I've put brown rice into his nutrition plan. So we're talking about brown rice, and basically he said, well, why have we put brown rice in? So people don't use brown rice because of the phytic acid in it. Now phytic acid stops us, in large amounts, stops us absorbing so many nutrients. But that's where we can overcomplicate things. Bearing in mind, if you're going from processed foods, brown rice is brilliant for you, yeah. But when we're starting out, we like to overcomplicate it, like, oh, I can't have brown rice, or I can't have spinach because of the oxalates in spinach and the damage it causes to my kidney. And this is where my head went, you know, at the time. I can't have, spinach is brilliant for you. You know, if you're switching that out for whole foods, you don't want to be thinking, I can't have brown rice, I can't have spinach, because you'll end up not being able to have anything. And then lastly would be have smaller goals. When I was 24 stone, you know, at first when I was starting out, I wanted to lose it all at once. It wasn't feasible in my head. So when I set these smaller targets for me, it was, let's try and drop a certain body fat percentage by this date, and let's try and get sparring. You know, and don't have to always be weight loss. Let's try and get to a level where I can spar, or let's get to a level where I can fight. And that was just me. Whether it's you in work, let's get to a level where I can climb stairs without being out of breath. Just have them smaller goals. There's so much more benefit to long-term gratification. You know, yeah, it feels good when we eat stuff now. Of course it feels good. It still feels good for me when I eat them sort of foods. But what feels even better is that long-term gratification. You know, getting to where you want and maintaining it. Yeah, so again, another tough one, and I'm only talking from my experience. You know, people ask me how did I do it, you know, and it wasn't a case from A to B. There was a lot of nights where, you know, I did give in to them cravings until, you know, I started, you know, I researched it, and then I implemented it into my own lifestyle. Number one is you've got to increase your fibre intake. You'll see a massive difference if you increase your fibre intake. Now, fibre, I'm talking about oats, almonds, apples, pears, carrots, broccoli, raspberries are good. By increasing the fibre intake, not only are they normally higher volume, lower calorie foods, but they tend to keep you satiated, so fuller for longer. So that's definitely one. So increase your fibre intake, you'll see a difference. Number two is hydration. A lot of the times when we've got these cravings, it's usually because we're dehydrated. And again, like I spoke about before, the brain sort of sends signals out to get some water, and them signals usually mean trying to get food as well, but it's not, it's just hydration. So just make sure you're getting plenty of water. The next one, which is massive for me, is meal prepping. Yeah, always, throughout my journey, I always had food on me, and I'm talking meal preps. It's so easier for us to grab unhealthy snacks when with no food on us, especially when we're trying to do the best we can. Again, I'll just give you an example. I'm driving home from work. You know, I'm trying the best I can. I'm starving. Or I think I'm hungry. I think I'm starving. I drive through a petrol station. I've no food on me. I grab the easiest thing, which is normally a rubbish sandwich and a chocolate bar or something, and then my progress is ruined for that day. The other one is, don't starve yourself. Don't starve yourself. Yeah, make sure that you have your calories for the day. Meal prep. Have all your food on you. If you're eating whole foods, you should be eating enough anyway. What happens if you start restricting your calories too much? Normally, and if you're anything like me, you'll get to the end of the day, you'll have pretty much starved yourself for most of the day, maybe have 1-2 small meals, and then end up binging at night, yeah, and then ruining the day's progress again. Whereas if you spread them out, you don't end up binging. And the last one is have a snack, have a healthy snack. So my snacks was 90% chocolate, which has got some good minerals in, and it felt like I was having that treat at the end of the day. But another good one, and like I spoke about fibre, is popcorn. Now I don't mean this salted caramel, you know, all sort of popcorn. I just get my own popcorn kernels, put them in the microwave in a popcorn maker, and then if you wanted sweet, so if I want sweet, I'd put some like allulose or stevia on it. And if I wanted savoury, you can get something called nutritional yeast, which is almost like cheese. And then you have about 50 grams of that. It turns into a big bowl of popcorn. You're looking at about 180 calories, and you're getting a high amount of food and a lot of fibre as well. So if it was to finish off, it would be just simply, and again, speaking from experience, please don't be too hard on yourself. Set yourself little goals. Remember that the position you got to now, we didn't get there in one night. And quick fixes, unless you're the 5% of people that can maintain a quick fix, quick fixes don't work. And I'm talking from my experience, and research shows us that, yeah, we might lose a lot of water retention with these quick fixes, but 9 out of 10 people usually gain it back on. So if you are going to try and have a healthy lifestyle, turn it into that healthy lifestyle. And now, since I use that word lifestyle, it's the happiest I've been.